WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network presents with Transformational Life Coach.
Hello everyone and welcome to Manifest Your Ideal Life show with me, Angela Kane, and my dear friend and colleague Mary Tudor. You're listening to WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network, and today we're going to be discussing something really, really exciting. Well, I think it's exciting and I know Mary does too. And what we're doing is we're following up from something that cropped up on last week's show. When I said something, I said something quite emphatically to Mary that this is law. And then afterwards, when we were discussing the show, we suddenly realised that perhaps people didn't quite understand what we meant about that. So we are going to be discussing that throughout today's show. But first of all, just a little bit about me. I am a transformational coach, and I work specifically with women in the second half of life. Mary, my colleague, is also a transformational coach, and Mary specialises in meditation and all things spiritual. So let's say hello to Mary. Are you there, Mary?
Hi, good morning to Angela and our lovely listeners. Great to be back again for another show. It's been a really amazing journey so far, and I loved that last week you just were so right on the ball, Angela, by going, this is law, and it was as though you thumped your fist on the desk.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And so that's going to be a great thing that we're going to talk about today. This is the law, and what do we mean by that? And the other thing we're going to do is lots of our listeners were engaging with us with the Wheel of Life, actually working with that as a process to start to understand where they are on their journey and then start to make positive changes in order to manifest their own ideal life. So we'll be actually extending on from that with another process today. If you missed it, just pop to the site show page and you can actually download Wheel of Life and indeed listen to the previous broadcast if you missed that too. But hey, let's just get on with It Is Law, Angela. Where should we start with that one?
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, when I said it is law, of course I wasn't talking about the laws, the man-made laws, the laws of the country that you're in. I was talking about universal principles. And I'm sure some of our listeners will be familiar with this, but perhaps some won't as well. So Mary and I thought today we would explain what that means, what they are briefly, because it's a huge topic, isn't it, Mary? But today we thought we would talk about the law of vibration, better known as the law of attraction, because I think that's quite widely known in the world today, isn't it? And how we actually attract things to us that are low. So the law of attraction says, whatever we are like, we attract it, like for like. And so what that means is that whatever energy we are emitting out into the universe, then we are going to get back something that's vibrating on a similar level. And Mary has a really, really good analogy of how we can look at what we are emitting out there by using the contrast to clarity, Mary, isn't it, that you talk about?
It is. There's a process that I actually use with a lot of my clients, which is related to what am I emitting? What am I emitting in life? So we need to understand that nowadays it's been proven scientifically that everything is energy, everything emits a vibration, whether it's a chair, a table, a lamp, or whether it's you and me as people.
Yeah.
The universe is 100% benevolent, believe it or not, even when we throw our hands up in horror at some of the stuff. It is benevolent because it always says, that's the signal you're giving out. Okay, you can have some more of that. Because that's what you are wanting to draw to yourself. So to begin with, we need to actually just try to get our understanding to the level of, I am a human being. I am an energetic being. And as an energetic being, I actually emit a vibration. What is that vibration that I'm putting out? Step 2 almost is to say, if that's the vibration I'm putting out, what am I therefore drawing towards me? What am I bringing into my own life? And often I experience in my life that I'm pretty quick to actually put my hand up and say, I don't want this. I don't want this stuff in my life. I don't want the people to behave this way to me. I don't want to have this rubbish happening in my life. And if I am not careful, I actually end up with more of what I don't want, because that's the only signal that I'm putting out. And that get into another little bit of language for this world that both you and myself live in very happily at the moment now, Angela, is to get the language. It's called contrast. The stuff we don't like is known as contrast. Yeah. And the reason why we actually give it a name of contrast is because the language we use is incredibly, incredibly important. Yeah. If I keep saying that's the stuff I don't want, I'm back in the don't want vibration. And the universe is going, okay, the universe doesn't know the difference between yes and no. It only knows the difference between high vibration, low vibration. Yeah. And if I'm on a low vibration of don't want, don't want, don't want, don't want, that's what I'm going to get back in. If I can get in a high vibration of, oh, I love it when this happens for me, I love it when that happens, I love it when the other, then I get that good vibration coming in. So it's knowing what to do when life is full of contrast. And quite a few of us have experienced big chunks of this in our lives. We certainly have, I dare say many of our listeners will be in a position, perhaps if you're in relationship breakup or you're experiencing change of relationship, you know, I wish my partner had behaved this way, I wish my partner had behaved that way. It's like, let's just take a rain check on this and see where we are. If I am an energetic presence and I emit a vibration, it is absolutely within my power and my responsibility to say, what do I want coming back towards me? Therefore, what shall I put out there in the universe? If I want somebody to be nice to me, I need to take responsibility for being nice to them first. Unconditionally, I need to be the one that says, nice vibration, yeah. And if I can't think of anything nice for a particular subject, maybe like a person who I'm having a tricky relationship with, then it's really important for me to pick another subject in my life which I can easily use to raise my vibration. So maybe it's like there's a lot of things that are perhaps tricky, bringing up the contrast. But I could say, do you know what? The sun is shining today, and I love it when the sun shines because actually it helps me relax. It helps me feel lighter about life. Well, that's good. It helps me feel lighter because when I feel lighter, do you know what? That's raising my vibration. And if I'm raising my vibration, then, well, blow me down, I'm beginning to feel a little happier. And if I'm feeling a little happier, my vibration is raising even more. And do you know, one of the other aspects of law of attraction is it only takes 17 seconds of focusing in a particular way for more energy of the same to come towards you. Yeah. And that, I think, it is a really interesting part of this law of attraction thing that we are trying to unpick here for people this morning, Angela. Yeah. Because it is about saying it only takes 17 seconds of me harumphing about something for another harumphing vibration to come through to my doorstep. Yeah. Similarly, it's only 17 seconds of going, do you know what? Although today started in a tricky way, I have since found that this is going right for me, and that's going right for me, and now the other's going right for me. And then I can use that to build on, and lo and behold, not too long before I'm actually on a different vibration. Do you tend to find that that's an experience for you, Angela, in life?
Yes, I do, Mary, and I think, it gets a little easier for you and I because we're so familiar with this work, and we've been practicing and doing it for so many years now, haven't we?
We have.
I know for me, it noticing things becomes much quicker than it used to. And I think that's the difference, that we become aware much more quickly of, sending out the wrong energy or being in the wrong vibration. I was talking to one of my clients last week, and I actually showed her the emotional scale. And when she looked at it, when she could see it visually, she was really shocked and noticed that most of her adult life, certainly, and probably some of her childhood as well, she was living at the very, very low vibration of fear and shame. For guilt and shame, I beg your pardon. And you and I know that you can't get any lower than that. And so, to try and raise yourself up from there is you can't go from guilt and shame straight into joy. But what you can do is think, well, what can I think about today? Or what can I think about in this moment? What can I change my thoughts to? So contrast again, that's going to make me feel that little bit better, and just start raising yourself up.
Absolutely.
And I find that really works well for my clients, and it works well for me too.
That's fantastic, Angela. And there's that really, really important point that you've put in there to say the contrast is there for us all. The heavy vibrations are there for us all. The work that we are being invited to do is to find a pathway out from there to something which is lighter, something which is brighter, and so that we get back to an incredibly empowered sense of living, which is to say, okay, the contrast occurs because it's part of being a human being. However, it's how I respond to the contrast. How quickly can I notice, that's a big chunk of contrast coming up for me. Am I engaging with it at a deeper, unhelpful, heavy vibrational level? Or am I going, there must be a gift in this, surely? Can I be shown what will help me to bring this to a higher vibration and bring myself out of it? And my experience has been that once I turned towards contrast, which was pretty big and pretty dark, and started to work in a way where it was like, okay, where are the gifts in this? What is this showing me? And I lifted into an understanding of, I actually have control over how I respond to things in my life. I started to feel a lot more empowered, and that is one of the things that I hold on to when contrast comes ringing in life. And it's the bit about, okay, I know the bottom line is I am a vibrational being. I exude energy. I emit energy. And therefore I attract similar energies. What is it that I can do in order to empower myself to live a much lighter and brighter life that I would choose? And that, I think, perhaps is a great place for us maybe to start thinking about taking our little break here, Angela. Because after the break we could come back and talk more deeply about this contrast through clarity exercise, which I think a lot of our listeners might relate to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a really good time, Mary. So we're going to be carrying on this really interesting conversation. So after the break, so don't go anywhere.
You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Hello and welcome back to Manifest Your Ideal Life show with me, Angela Kane, and my colleague Mary Tudor. You're listening to WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network. And thank you for joining us again. If you were not listening before the break, we were actually talking about a very interesting topic that both Mary and I love to chat about. And we were talking about universal law. And this was something that arose from the show we did last week. And I said something about, yes, that's absolute law, Mary. And then afterwards we thought, oh, perhaps, our listeners won't understand what I'm talking about there. And perhaps we better explain that. So today we're explaining what I meant by that and having this conversation about, and Mary brought up this thing about contrast and clarity and how we can actually start to look at the message that we are putting out there, the energy that we are emitting out, and gaining clarity on that. And then if it's not what we want, how to change it, and to know what you have been putting out there. Just take a look at your life at the moment and see what's around you, and are you happy? And if you're not, then let's look at why not and how you can start to change that.
It's great. And with the process we did with our listeners last week, or the last episode we broadcast, was about the Wheel of Life. And I think that might be a great place to actually pick up on a topic and blend it with what we're dealing with, contrast through clarity today, or clarity through contrast, I should say, Angela, because we took the Wheel of Life where we divided our lives up into 8 different segments: career, work, relationships, etc. It's on the site if you would like to go back and have a look at it on the show site. But if we actually said in that process, we identified things which weren't maybe working too well in our life. So let's take the idea of, in my career, I would like some improvements. I want a job change, something like that. One of the processes that's really helpful to get clarity is to take a piece of paper and simply draw a line down the middle. And on the left-hand side, at the top, write the word contrast. And on the right-hand side, at the top, write the word clarity. And simply write down all the things that you don't like or you don't want about your job. So, for example, you could say, I actually don't like the hours that I'm working at the moment. I don't want to actually bring work home with me at the weekends. I don't want to work in an environment where I feel that my voice isn't heard. I don't want to work in an environment where I am overlooked for promotion. So setting down all those things that you don't like and you don't want, because that's often the story that comes out of, why do I want a new job? Someone says, why do you want to move? You say, well, I don't like this. I don't get on with my boss. My relationship with my colleagues is not as great as it could be. I don't like the hours. And you go into the I don't want and I don't like story. And as we said before the break, when I'm in the I don't want story, what I'm doing is I'm building my low vibration. I'm strengthening my low vibration in relation to my job. But sorry, folks, it's and everything else in my life, because even though I might be quite happy about the new evening classes I'm going to because I'm learning a new language and I'm very excited about that, for 90% of the time I'm going, yeah, but I don't like my job.
Yeah.
And I wish I had another job and I wish I was out of here. So everything gets coloured by your main dominant vibration. If we go through on the left-hand side of the page and write what I don't want, when I've got that nice list of I don't wants, then I go to the right-hand side of my page, and for each I do not want in my life, I actually translate it into what I do want. So, for example, I don't want to be overlooked when there is a promotional opportunity. I might go, I would really like to be in a job where my talents and my contribution is recognised, so that I am in the running when there's an opportunity for promotion. And then I keep that in mind. And then I go to the next one, and I might have said something like, I don't like working crazy hours. So I go to the right-hand side where I'm writing my clarity, and I say, I actually would like to work maybe only half a week. Maybe I'd like to say I only want to work 9 till 5, but actually put down what I would like. And in a very short space of time, I come up with a list of things that I would like about my job, my new job. And then my task is to focus on that list, to keep reading it through and going, this is what I want. This is what I would like. And to start understanding that because I then focus on what I like and what I want, this is where we can say, Angela, it is law.
Yes.
The universe
has to bring it
to you because you are a vibrational match. It is incredibly important to understand that what you put out, the universe will bring back. Now, I think you were talking at the break, Angela, about a great experience that you had listened to, and I think it might have been Joe Dispenza you were talking about, where you were saying that if your energy gets split, so you start to doubt that what you want will be delivered to you, then you've dropped yourself down in the game of snakes and ladders. You've gone all the way down to the bottom of your pile again.
Yeah.
Because you're in the fundamental energy of doubt rather than excited anticipation. Yeah. So some people go, oh, but I've got to have a lot of faith. I've got to have a lot of trust in this, Mary. And I'm going, well, start with something really small and start proving to yourself that this law, which is universal, which says what I emit energetically, vibrationally, absolutely 100% has to come back to me. Once I understand that, once I remember it, once I get it in my breathing and in my bones every day, then I am truly, truly empowered to manifest my ideal life.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the key, Mary, isn't it? Remembering. So I know when I first started, on this path, and I still think it's a good thing to do, have cards and reminders. I used to have post-it notes, sticky notes on my windscreen, on my mirror, on my desk, everywhere, to remind me to think about the things that are going to bring to me what I do want, instead of focusing on the things that I don't want, because that's what we're going to get if that's what we do. And of course that puts us in a lower vibration, and when we're in that lower vibration, we just don't see. We're not on that level of awareness. We're not on that level of consciousness. We don't see the opportunities that are actually already there. We just don't see them, because was it Einstein, or I can't remember whether it was Einstein, but somebody said, nothing is created or destroyed. Energy is, which means that everything that we want is actually already here. We just can't see it yet because we're not at that level of awareness. And so raising our vibration increases our level of awareness, and then we are actually able to notice the opportunities and the things that are all around us that we just can't see when we're in this fog that very many of us are. And that's how many, many people live their life. And it is a conscious effort to not live your life that way, and to live what Mary and I would describe as a conscious life, rather than operating from the habitual state that I used to for many, many years, and I think most people do.
Certainly for me, Angela, coming into a lifestyle now of being much more awake, much more alert, much more understanding of the power that I have over my own life and over my own circumstances has been an incredible journey. Coming from that space of utter conditioning of this is how it is, looking at all the belief systems that I had, sorting them out. Life is about struggle, it's about uphill, money doesn't grow on trees,
all of that.
All that sort of stuff that goes on. It's actually taking all that and saying, hang on a minute, we actually have scientific proof. And what I'm loving about a lot of the scientific proof now is it's being translated into easy layperson's access.
Language.
And any of our listeners are going, where do I go and find out somebody good? Somebody great is Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's got a lot of stuff online.
Oh,
he's
he's
got a lot
amazing.
of books he's written. And he's incredibly accessible with easy language for us about quantum physics. But the baseline is to say, once we understand that we are vibrational beings and we emit energy, and what we emit absolutely 100% creates our own reality for us.
Yeah.
It's huge when we start looking at it, but it's also fantastically exciting when we start living it.
It is. Yeah, it is.
And that's what we're really inviting people to come with us on our journey with this show, to say, yes, step by step, let's actually look at some of the building blocks, let's look at some of the processes we can use, and we can all together bring ourselves into a much stronger situation where our vibration becomes higher and higher, and we create the lives that we would really ideally like to have.
Yes, of course. And, you know, when we're doing it together, Mary, as you and I know, and the people that are listening to the show, whether they're listening to it, you know, whatever time they're listening to the recording or whenever, that, you know, that energy is the same, and it raises everyone's vibration, because there's power in numbers. So when more of us are thinking along the same lines, that raises our vibration even higher, because the energy's stronger. And so, Mary, I didn't realise the time, and I'm thinking, goodness me, we could talk about this for another 5 hours. And unfortunately, I think we've reached that time where we're going to have to say goodbye. And but we will definitely continue this conversation again, because I think it's absolutely crucial to understand this, Mary, when you're starting out in manifesting your ideal life.
Absolutely,
because if you don't
Angela.
know this, then, you know, how do you turn your life around? You have to understand these principles and know that you have such power when many people think they're a victim of their circumstance.
Yeah, and I'd like to invite our listeners, if they are new to this kind of understanding of who we are, what we are, and our environment, I would like to invite our listeners, just between now and the next show, to hold the question in their mind as they go about their day. Where is my vibration at the moment? What is my resonance about? And simply say, is it high or is it low? If it's low, okay, that's all right that it's low, but what might I do just to raise it just a little bit?
Yeah.
If it's high, what can I do to make it even higher? And just to become observant and become aware, because in our first show, I remember you saying so helpfully about awareness is a fundamental key to this. So I think if we lock together the awareness principle and a basic understanding of law of attraction for people, we're setting off on a very, very strong basis for our exciting journey about manifest your ideal life.
We are indeed, Mary. Yeah, and just you know, another word for vibration is feelings. So just check in with yourself and say, how am I feeling today? How am I feeling in this moment? And if it's not great, then think, what can you do? What
Sounds
thoughts
like
can you
you've
think? What can you think to raise that a little bit? Because you know, our thoughts create the way we feel, and it's that simple.
Sounds like you've actually identified the topic for our next show, Angela, because you also mentioned the emotional scale earlier in this. So I think we'll be looking next week at emotional scale and feelings. So thank you everybody very much everybody for listening to us, and see you next time.
Yes, thanks so much, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the show and found it interesting. I know Mary and I have really, really enjoyed it, because we love these types of interesting, meaty conversations. There's nothing better as far as I'm concerned. And so with that, we will say goodbye until next time. And you've been listening to WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network with me, Angela Kane, and my colleague, Mary Tudor. And you've been listening to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show. You will hear us again this time next week. So take care, everyone, and bye for now.